Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates sounding an urgent warning about artificial intelligence, acknowledging the paradox of software engineering, cautioning against the very frontier of technology in a sweeping 6,000-word essay published on his personal website and reinforced in an interview with the New York Times. Gates outlined how rapid advancements in AI could spark unprecedented social, political, and economic upheaval, permanent structural unemployment, biosecurity threats, and lack of global regulatory safeguards. Yates argues that society is unprepared for the transition and urges world leaders to establish new frameworks, including human reserve jobs and robot taxes, before market forces outpace institutional control. Welcome to Business Insights Daily. I'm your host, Sashank. When you trace the arc of modern computing, there's always been this foundational belief that software could simply make us faster, smarter, and more productive. And for half a century, Bill Gates sat the chief architect of that vision. Today, we're standing on the first fundamentally different kind of shift. In the 6,000 word manifesto, Bill Gates, titled The Turbulent AI Era is Here, alongside an exclusive interview with New York Times, the Microsoft co-founder issued a stark warning. AI isn't just another tool. It's the engine of a potential social and economic upheaval. Gates openly acknowledged the irony of the father of personal computing pulling the emergency brake. But to really grasp what's keeping him up at night, you look beyond the hype of the chatbot and what happens when machine intelligence begins substituting for human cognition itself. What happens when Pioneer put a computer at every single desk, wants that the next machine might leaves those empty? As you t- uh, as we listen, I want you to hold on to this question in your mind. What does it mean when the economic social contract, when the very architect of social software revolution tells us that market forces alone will not protect human labor? Paradox of the architect. Let me tell you about the shift happening with one of tech's ultimate optimists. For decades, Yates viewed the technological process through an almost purely additive lens. More compute meant more human capability. But in the essay, he makes a crucial distinction. Unlike the Industrial Revolution, the rise of PCs, which unfolded over generations and ultimately created new categories of cognitive work, AI is moving across every industry simultaneously in a matter of years. He points out that white collar domains, paralegal work, software engineering, customer support, and financial analysis are facing immediate displacement. And when error free autonomous models arrive, companies won't just use AI to assist workers, economic incentives will compel them to replace human roles entirely. Machines can execute cognitive work with nearly zero errors. Well, what's the value of human labor in market driven by efficiency? Embedded in that realization is a deep philosophical question. When efficiency dictates that an algorithm can write code and analyze data faster than any graduate, how do you preserve the dignity, income, and entry level pathways to the next generation of workers? So, why are existing institutions so fundamentally ill equipped to handle this frontier? Gates argues that the current regulatory architecture is built for legacy world. After 9/11, the US government undertook its massive reorganization around national security. AI touches national security, biosecurity, energy grids, taxation, and public health all at once. He specifically highlights the terrifying dual use dilemma. The exact same generative AI models being capable of discovering life saving therapeutics can also be weaponized to map out synthetic bioweapons and execute hyper targeted cyber attacks on municipal infrastructure. Because capabilities advance faster on oversight, voluntary corporate entities are always going to be there to back us up. What happens when the tools designed to cure diseases lower the barrier to engineering global bioweapon? Which brings us to a third urgent question. Can international bodies and competing superpowers build a unified monitoring fast framework fast enough to contain dangerous AI capabilities before a catastrophic breach occurs? The Human Reserve Sanctuary. To navigate this turbulence, Gates proposes radical intervention, creating a human reserve category and instituting tax on AI tokens and automations. He likens human reserve domains to environmental natural reserves, spaces where we could build roads and commercialize, choose not to because the human loss would be far too great. Reflecting on the caregivers who looked after his late father during his battle with Alzheimer's, Gates notes that while a robot could deliver a terminal medical diagnosis or provide elder care, it shouldn't. It's a call to deliberately ring fence human connections, empathy, and social care from the cold calculation of algorithmic optimization. If we decide tax robots and shield human jobs, tricking humanity, simply delaying inevitable technological takeover. So let's land on one final thought. If society actively chooses to reserve work with human hands and minds, will we find a new balance for capitalism or attempt to erect artificial levies against an unstoppable digital tide? Let's return to the four questions we've been tracking through this story. What happens on the pioneer of computing cautions against AI? We see a shift from unbridled technological optimism, sober realization that machine intelligence requires immediate systematic governance. How do we value human work in an era of autonomous cognitive labor? Gates wants that without intervention, market forces will concentrate wealth while displacing entire tiers of entry level professional careers. Can global institutions safeguard against AI driven bioweapons and cyber threats? Safety depends on moving past voluntary promises, mandatory global monitoring of advanced AI models across both commercial and open source domains. And is human reserved work the future of social economic policy? Designating specific roles exclusively for people may be the only way to preserve human dignity, empathy, and employment in a fully automated economy. The next time you interact with an AI tool, take a moment to consider the sheer speed of the shift underway and think about what parts of your own work and life you believe should be remembered as irreplaceably human. Thank you for listening to Business Insights Daily. I'm your host, Shashank. Stay informed, stay ahead, and we'll see you next time.